You experience bloating or discomfort in your abdominal area? You feel sluggish and tight at times? Well, welcome to your Yoga SOS for digestive issues. Hi, I'm Dr. Beth. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I know that the mind body connection is a strong one. And when we feel off in our bodies, we feel off in our emotions, we feel more stress. So, this short, gentle yoga practice is to help you feel better in your body, hopefully relieving some stress and tension as well. We'll be doing some very simple movements, some compression for the belly area, some twists to get things moving. I have a block here that is optional for when we come down to the floor. It's great to have a block or something else to elevate your hips. Maybe a blanket or a firm pillow will work as well. We are going to start seated. So to begin, we'll sit cross legs, crossing your right leg in front. It doesn't matter if your cross leg is looser or tighter, some type of cross leg position, taking a firm seat on your sits bone so that your body can start in an upright position. Getting long in our torso will help to give ourselves more space for digestion. And we're going to start with torso, or sometimes called soothe circles. Hands can rest on your knees or on your thighs as you start circling your torso around, moving your body, feeling as if your spine is stirring in your pelvis. Now, as you come forward, especially, there might be starting of some little bit of compression on your belly. You may notice some discomfort or tightness, and that is normal. Allow yourself to go at the tempo that you need. Move more slowly if that works for you. Then we're going to come back around the other way. So when we're having digestive issues, things feel like they've come to a stop, right? It really feels like we've gotten clogged up. So we're trying to invite some movement to get things naturally going again, to get our own body's systems to kick in and work. All right, eventually start to come to a stop. We'll begin with some twists. So with your right leg, take that leg and extend it somewhere off in the side. The left foot stays comfortably toward your body, and you might need to adjust your seat. We're going to take an open twist, which means we're moving away from the center and away from the leg. So we'll be going to your left. Again, on your breath in, think about being tall in your spine. That's really important. And then on the exhale, we're twisting around the center of our spine, kind of like a spiral staircase. You can let your right hand come across and maybe hold on to the thigh or the knee. Left hand can be on a block, even on a chair or a wall behind you. So this is our very first twist. You will, again, feel some tightening in the belly area. So no need to yank or force yourself tighter than your body is ready for. Our breath is really a good aid in this practice. So throughout the practice, let your breath be calm, be soft, not forcing deep breaths. If it feels good to take deep breaths, go ahead. If not, maybe think about a little bit more breath in the ribs, a wide breath. Since we're focusing on the abdominal area, you can do whatever you want with your head and neck. Perhaps you get a little bonus neck stretching as we're holding the poses. All right, let's take one more breath in, again, feeling tall in the twist. Exhale, come back around to front. And then we're going to recross the right leg in front. Remember, every time we move, you might have to reposition because staying long and tall is important. And now we're going to take a closed twist going in the opposite direction. So our legs in front provide a little more constriction. We'll take the left hand across this time, right hand comes behind. So we're starting with our upright twist, same as we did toward the open side, and same thing with your head and neck. Feel free to keep it still or explore a position that feels good. I can hear some bonus neck cracks in this practice. And then from the twist, we'll take this into a gentle forward fold. So from your twist, continue to be on the diagonal facing your front knee, and we'll bend over that front knee, stopping at the point where there's feels like enough pressure on your abdominal. So if it starts feeling like the pressure feels too strong and uncomfortable, stay more upright here in the forward fold. If this feels like a good compression, something that's helping things maybe gently shift and move for you, you could walk your hands further into the fold. So when we do this forward fold diagonally to the other side, pointed in the direction of the front foot, that invites in a little more stretch in the opposite hip. And you might feel that today, some stretch in the opposite hip, but we're really trying to focus on the little bit of gentle pressure here and focus our attention on the abdominal area. For the last few moments in this pose, let's walk our hands around to front. Stay in the fold for a few more breaths. And again, you might adjust it by coming more upright, or in center, you might find there's a little bit more room to let your body come forward, adjusting the amount of compression you feel in your abdominal area to what works for you. Noticing or picking up this sense of the breath in your back body as you breathe in and out. And then as you're ready, use your hands to walk your body in. Come to upright for a moment, perhaps a full breath in and out here. And we'll switch the cross of your legs. So your left leg comes in front. Adjust your body, and remember it's fine to have the legs looser if that works better for you. You can even do this whole set with the front leg extended if you prefer. All right, so we started with those torso circles. We're going to do the same thing. Go in whatever direction feels natural to you, whether that's clockwise or counterclockwise. Give yourself a moment to notice your pace. Notice the effort that you're putting in. See if you can explore that just right quality. Really just enough. Can you back off from putting in maximal effort and put in an amount of effort that feels like just enough? Be gentle with yourself. And then eventually we'll go the other way. Because we're moving around in circles, we're compressing the front as we stretch the back. So you might feel some stretching in your lower back as we come forward. You might feel some hip stretch. So yes, we're focusing on the area of the abdominals, but certainly all the connecting areas might be impacted. All right, when you're ready, come to upright. Now we'll extend the front leg out on that diagonal, finding the diagonal that works for you. Let's take a breath in and feel our torsos be tall. So feeling length from our sits bones being grounded, the top of our head reaching. And then from that length on the exhale, let's move toward your right, reaching the opposite hand around just as a little hold, so not as a forcing into the twist. I remember that principle of doing just enough. Go just far enough into the twist. But always make the decision to change your position. Let's breathe and hold here. Every inhale is a reminder to be tall in your pose. And the exhales are an opportunity to adjust or explore the degree of twist if you'd like. Last in breath. And then exhale, unwind to front. Bring your front leg back in. And now we'll find that closed twist, so we're moving more toward our body being a bit compressed. Let's take a breath in again. And now we'll twist toward your left. Same basic movement of moving the arm across. Other hand comes behind you. Notice what feels different just when we change our base, when we change the positioning of our feet a bit. I tend to notice that this side, I just have less of a range in my twist. It feels tighter coming to this side, not just in my belly area, but along the low back on the opposite side. So if you notice something like that, some kind of asymmetry between sides, it's a sign to be particularly gentle with yourself. All right, one more tall breath in the twist. And then we're going to come out just enough so that we're facing directly toward the front knee and start to walk forward any amount, finding a just right degree of forward fold. So the belly is coming toward the thigh, and we're looking for that. We're looking for just enough pressure. You might need to change the degree. So if that is not just enough, be here. If being here, you can certainly feel sensation and like something's happening in your abdominal area. This is a good place to practice. You can explore walking your hands out to a different place and noticing if that feels like the place for you to practice today. This is a fold and a twist at the same time. And if you find the ideal spot for you, it has the potential to feel really delicious. So it might be worth a little moving and exploration to find your spot. All right, from being out to the side, we're going to walk our hands back to front. And again, you can choose whether to be more upright or maybe in the front space, there's room to come forward to a different degree. One or two more breaths here. Your hands can serve to help you back up to upright. Let your gaze be soft or close your eyes. Taking a few last moments while we're still seated to listen internally, aware of whether the dialogue with your body, with your belly has changed at all so far. And then we'll transition to being on the floor for the second half, and you will want your block for this. So for the first part of our floor work, the block is going to be horizontally just under the hips. You've probably seen this before in yoga. We'll start with a supported bridge type position. But as you place the block, you want it somewhere where it feels like it's comfortably supporting your sacrum, the bony part all the way at the bottom of your spine. If there's any digging into your waist, then it's probably too high, it needs to come more toward your feet. Let's stay here for a moment. And the support might provide you with a little bit of stretch and sense of openness across the front. Now, if this is feeling just right to you today and giving you a good deal of relief, of course, you're welcome to stay right here in the supported bridge and let the space that the block is helping you create be a soothing balm for your belly. If you want to try the next position with me, we are going to take Apanasana. Apanasana literally translates as wind relieving pose. I don't think I have to give more detail on that. So as you're ready, take one knee and then the other knee toward your chest. Now you'll start to feel as if the knees are tipping a little bit toward your chest. That's normal. If it feels uncomfortable or like you're going to tip off the block, then the block maybe needs to come in a slightly different position. So this might not have the same range of motions. We're also a little balancing than we would have if we were on the floor. We're going to take a little rock in and out with the knees. So a rock with our pelvis moving the knees in and out with the breath. So on your next inhale, let your arms reach their natural length. They don't have to come all the way straight. And then on your exhale, gently bend the elbows as you bring your knees toward the chest. And remember, you control this degree. Continue at your pace. Your inhale moves your knees away from you as your lower back or your lower sacrum pushes into the block. And your exhale, you're gently again bringing that compression of thighs on belly. We are doing this in a way that is really mindful and intentional. We're not rushing through these movements. You have the opportunity to linger at a spot. So if staying with the knees away feels good, take a few breaths lingering there. If you find that the sense of compression feels helpful, you can stay right here and take a few breaths here. Last few. Just like we tried to do a little less earlier or do just enough, you could also try to let your breath be just enough. Not forced, and certainly not rushed. All right, last time in, hold in for just a breath or two. And we'll bring the knees down. And as we come down, we're coming back into the supported bridge position. Now you can stay right here. I recently tried the block in a vertical position, and I really liked that for this version. So if you'd like, lift your hips just enough to turn the block vertically, and you can either stay on this low block position, or if it works for you, you can give yourself just a little more height. So the block is at the sacrum, maybe slightly up to the spine. It's sort of supporting between the hips, between the back hip point. There's even more openness if you went to the next height. If the next height doesn't work with you, stay where you were. Now here's where we're going to have the option to add in a little bit of gentle massage. Gentle being the key word. To start, place your hands around the area of your hip points. You should be able to feel those front pelvic points. So not right in your belly to start. And then from those hip points, just a little gentle push over your hip flexor area and down your thighs. I'm using a flat hand, pushing my fingers. You can also choose to do it with just 2 fingers. That will concentrate the pressure a little bit more, or maybe with loose fists. So everybody reacts to self-massage differently. You might feel a little, a lot, you might feel nothing. Staying really gentle, start moving slightly between your hip points. You don't have to go down as far, but just little movements underneath your belly button. If your hands touch, you can start moving out again. So this is kind of a little bit of warm-up work to see how things are feeling, maybe get a sense of pressure. And I'm going to start making circles. So starting at the hip points, I'm going to start making small circles toward my belly and back out. And then as I change the size of the circles, I can start getting more surface area, maybe feeling some different things. And those different things could include discomfort, so long as it's mild discomfort, nothing like sharp pain or a really specific localized area of sensation. If it's just kind of general, things are moving around, I'm not sure how this is. And you always can decide the pressure. So it can be feather light, or it can be pushing a little bit more. And I don't think the mic is picking this up, but I'm starting to feel a little gurgling in my stomach area. That's an indication to me that I am definitely encouraging things to be moving. Now, as long as this feels effective and useful for you, you could stay here quite a bit of time, being really gentle, maybe taking a few pauses, resting your hands to see how things feel. We'll start wrapping this up. If there's any parts that you feel like you haven't reached, you want to try a few last up and down motions, you could do that. And let your hands come to your sides. Might feel a little tingling in your hands too. Take a moment to send your breath into that area that you just massaged. And then we'll come off the block. You might have to bring your feet a little closer to do that. You can move the block out of the way. We're done with the block for this practice. We'll widen the feet to about the edges of the mat, wider than hip width. And we'll start with our windshield wiper movement, letting the knees come to one side and then to the other. And you can rest your hands on your belly, maybe continuing to notice if there's any action, if you notice something going on in the belly as you move. You could also place your hands just under where we had them before, under those hip points, and gently push down as you go in each direction. So I'll pause in the middle for a moment. As I push down here, kind of pushing into my thighs, I'm feeling as if I'm making more space. Just by moving the skin and some of the flesh, it feels like I'm creating space in my belly. So there's not a lot of movement or a lot of change with that push, but it's the idea of sensing the creation of space. We did some compression, some twisting, and now we're finishing off with space, even as we come into one final twist. So next time your knees go to the left, let them stay left. And your hands could be also out in a T or in a cactus-like shape. As your knees are left, think about pushing into the inside of your right foot, maybe finding a little bit more lift in your right hip. And if you do that, notice it stretches all along the right side, from my right hip flexor up into kind of a diagonal into my belly. Maybe you're feeling some stretch into your lower back. You can have your hand be a little help for that. Give a little lift. Holding in your twist for a few breaths. This is not really a spinal twist, but more a belly, a hip area twist, and we're stretching out everything that we massaged and compressed earlier. Last breath here. And slowly let the knees come back up to center, and we'll do the second side. So both knees start to come toward the right. They're still wide, just gently dropping to the right. Mine aren't reaching the floor. And then I'm thinking about lifting the left hip a little bit more, sort of off to that diagonal. I can use my hand to help if I'd like. Of course, the breath is still useful in expanding into that area that we're stretching. Using the breath to create space. Feeling and noticing the results of your effort. And then come back to center. If you'd like to rest here, gently knock your knees in toward each other. Give your legs a little support. Hands can rest on your belly. You could also stretch out long. So it's really helpful to bring this mindful element of our practice to notice the effects, even the next few minutes, the next few hours after you practice. Notice how you feel, and I'd love to have you come back and tell me. Leave me a comment, give me a like if this practice did give you some relief. Thanks for joining me here today, and I wish you a more relaxed rest of your day.